it's Janet with Janet Jabber. I'm coming at you with episode 303. If you're new to my channel, this is channel about cross stitch. I hope you like what you see. Please subscribe, comment, and do the YouTube things. If you're a returning friend, thank you so much for coming back to see us and see what is going on. And I say us because Opie appears to be a part of every introduction. He knows that I've set up. He knows I'm getting ready to start, and he waddles on in here to say, like, let me sit on your lap. All right, so we have tons of stuff to get into. We are halfway through the month of July. There has been a whole plethora of stuff going on, from cross-stitching to quilting to anniversaries to ambassadors to a huge finish to we got stuff to dig into. First of all, off the top, last week, if you may have possibly seen on my socials that it was my anniversary last week. It was my 14th wedding anniversary. I'm going to show these couple pictures. This was a picture, the wedding day picture, and then I do this every single year with the chalkboard with my husband. He was like, I look old. So it's a cute little thing to put together, and I haven't put it in a movie, but of us every year holding the chalkboard and aging. And Ollie, of course, you have seen the tail. He is messing with the tree already. All right, so that was that. We had a good day. I left work early. We had dinner together that he made and watched a movie and started into the next day. I was leaving on a retreat, my quilt retreat, which we'll talk about at the end of the video. But he bought me flowers and 2 Reese cups because that's my thing. We usually are low key, and that's kind of what we did. So that was that for that. The other big announcement on the social medias was that I am going to be the ambassador for Grace Notes Fabrics. I'm super excited about this. It is a 6-month thing where I will be highlighting their fabric every month. Myself, Missy from 2 Needles Pulling Thread, and Kristen Cow Stitcher are all going to be the ambassadors this month. And I was asked to do this and was super excited because one of the things for me going into my transition of retirement was I was going to start a full coverage, and I was like, well, what better thing to do than to start that on Grace Notes Fabric. So we're going to talk about my plans of something that I want to do as the ambassador for Grace Notes Fabric. So I will be mentioning it starting August 1st. I will be mentioning it probably every single week because I love their fabric, and I will be stitching on it for this big project that will go on for a few years. I reached out because this Sunflower Wisdom from Stitches So Beautiful, I can't read backwards. I collaborated with her a few years ago. She's amazing, full coverage, I don't know what you call her, like business. And this is one that I've loved, of course, because I love my sunflowers. I was very hesitant to do this because I love her, but I didn't need to stitch all the background. But I am jumping into it because this is a big one, as you can see, 453 by 350. But what I chose to do with Grace Notes Fabric and talking to lots of friends is I'm going to be using 18 count Grace Notes Fabric Mint Macho. I better learn to say this if I'm going to say it right. It's the green tea that Macho. There you go. So that is the fabric that I'm going to be using. I am going to be planning on stitching this 2 over 10 stitch is what I'm planning on doing. I'm planning to do a 10 stitch. So, and the reason for this, Candy the 614 Stitcher is the one that spoke with me a lot about this in regards to, instead of using just a white Aida and getting a piece like this, is that if my threads show through, I didn't have a great coverage, then it would show through not stark white. So that is why I landed on this. It is beautiful. It makes me think earthy. It is perfect. So I will be figuring out what size I exactly need for that. Hopefully it'll fit on a scroll rod, and we're gonna see what adventures I get into in the full coverage stitching. I do have a Lowry stand. It would be great in retirement mode if that fit in a scroll rod and I could leave it on the Lowry, put my stitches on it and cover it, and it just stay out every day. That would be wonderful. That's a plan. We'll see where that goes. I'll be working on setting that up probably pretty soon. So I'm excited to be doing that and being the ambassador for Grace Notes Fabric, and you'll be hearing about them. So getting into what I've stitched on this week though. Oh no, look, I'm ahead of myself. As a normal announcement that I make every single time on here, if you would like to receive Happy Mail from me, in my description box below, I have a Google form that you can fill out, and I do send Happy Mail out once a month. So you'll find that in the description box below. I usually do a featured friend, but in light of doing the ambassador shout out this time, I'm going to pause on that for this week. I did have a few of you reach out to me, so I have like 3 or 4 in the queue. As a reminder, if you would like to be a featured friend, please send me an email at janetjabber@gmail.com, and that lets it get added to the queue, and we share other people's stitching on here, and I love doing that. So Ollie's trying to bite me over here. That's why you see me like, but my pile is over here, so he's trying to like be in all the business. I don't know what these animals want. All right, I have a huge, I knew it was coming, but it actually came. Ollie, don't mess with this tree. I have a huge finish. You've seen it coming. It's been in the works. My plans were to have this finished by the time I retired. I have it more than finished by the time I retired because, interestingly enough, I started my Queen of Freedom on my birthday, May 23rd in 2020, and I finished it on my anniversary in 2025. So here is my Queen of Freedom in its glory. All the beading, all the back stitching, all the charms, jewels, everything's done. And since she's finished, I'm going to show you, see those beautiful jewels there? There's jewels on the edge of it. It's like right there, see, on every one of those little tassels. I would like to basically try to get her to the framer now before I, start getting fixed income paychecks. That would be wonderful. This cat is attacking. Hey, that is not a real tree. Please stop. Please stop. Oh my gosh. So that was super exciting. I was over the moon with it. Ollie. Stop. Super excited with that finish. Sorry, super distracted. And it has been a long way in the making. I have a tag that is signed by Nora when I met her at Queen City Retreat, that when that's framed, I'm going to put it on the back of it. It was just what an accomplishment of that. I look forward to having it on I have an Americana wall because my husband served in the military, and I am just proud of that. I come from a line in my own family of my dad was named after a soldier, and I have a nephew that served. I have a cousin that still actively serves. So yeah, I look forward to that, adding that to my Americana wall. With that, Ollie is now attacking my tripod. All right, we're going to get into what else I stitched on this week and see what kind of earthquake we get. I finished up my stitching for this month for Put a Bird on It. So my 1,000 stitches are officially in. This is what my Put a Bird on It currently looks like. And my 1,000 stitches were this motif, and this motif over here is what did it for this month. So the next motif possibly, like there's a row here that finishes off the bottom and this way. So we'll see what direction I go when I pick it up next. But it's looking so good, and I love doing that. I'm doing the Put a Bird on It stitch along with EJ from the Sunshine Stitchers. She's the one that picked that out, and this is her second year of doing something like that, so that is very fun to do. The next one I put 1,000 stitches on was my Elf Tree by Soda Stitch. This is what it will look like. This is a project that I adopted from the Tattooed Stitcher. And this is where I am at on the project I got from Jordan. I was like, am I showing you the right side? I basically worked this whole thing right here got put in, and more of the tree branch and this right here. So definitely still building. I know that kind of looks like blah right now when the back stitching goes in, which I am opting to do that at the end currently. It's fun to work on. And this fabric is a blessing to work on. That was an out there for me, and that's kind of why I was like, I wanted to stitch a sew to stitch, and then this pushed my limits of like my colors. So it was fun to take that on from Jordan. The next thing I wanted to show you is my seasonal stitch that I'm working on. Again, EJ from the Sunshine Stitchers has this going on. So it's Sampler Season Summer. I am stitching it. It's designed for monochromatic. This is the Blueberry Ridge Designs. I get asked this for this designer. So the spring, summer, and winter are all this Blueberry Ridge Designs. And I am using a Coloris, which I didn't pull out this time. So the Coloris, I believe for this one, it's 4503. But I plugged along and got the rest of the berries done. So now I am ready to start filling in on the inside. So the border is completely done, and I'm ready to start working on the inside of picking and choosing where I'm going to put the different motifs with what colors. So that's very fun. And I do that Monday through Friday. I try to stitch on that. And let me see if I can quickly find. Let me see. So I know it's Coloris because I got asked these questions and I'd like to answer it. So 4502 is what I'm doing right now. And then I had somebody, did I already put them away? Okay, I'm of no help. I will dig and find them still because the other ones are in a different bag. I still need to answer what colors I used for spring and summer, or spring and winter, but I will get that. The next thing I stitched on, and I've got good news and bad news, is my Miss Christmas Eve by Mirabilia. And the good news is that I got all the stitching done. All of the Karen water lilies, all the things done. The bad news was I thought I had everything for this, and I didn't. I needed to order the beads. Well, I did that like at the end of last week, middle of last week. And then I was like, I don't have these beads, so I'm placing this order. And I did place the order from 1, 2, 3 because it made it easier for me in my moment. And I placed the order, and then I went on retreat. And today before I record, the mail came and noisy. And they're here. So my pause is now no longer paused, and we're going to see where else I can get through that in Christmas in July. So we'll see how much of that beading can get done. Along with Christmas in July, if you want down, you can get down, but you're not going to get all my stitching. I have Christmas Gingerbread Village, which I found out my friend Sue also is stitching this. And I'm doing all of that snow in sulky thread. So basically that's all I did this time. Also, I try to put 300 stitches in this every month to keep it moving along. You're going to fall if you do that. Oh, opie. So that's where I am. I filled in basically all the snow underneath that main house. I did put snow on this tree and started working on that little snowman guy. Super good. Working along. And then my last stitching to share with you is for my Whip-A-Gories, not Whip-A-Gories, for my, for Whip-A-Gories is what Sammy does. For my Whip Go, I had B and O, and for O, I chose O for outfits for Taylor Swift's The Eras Tour, and I needed to do 500 stitches, so I just finished out the word Taylor. Black stitching, get it done. I was on a crunch deadline of wanting to get that done before I left for my retreat. So that was done. I am not a stick that you rub on. Stop, Ollie. Oh my gosh, people, I'm so sorry. These animals. I was gone for the weekend and they're just like, Mom. All right, so that is my stitching for the week. I have other stuff to share with you, so hopefully you stick around. This is a mesh of my quilting and my retreat that I went to, and then my grand stuff at the end. But this one is like a mesh also because Robin Pickens she was a quilt fabric designer that turned into a cross-stitch designer. And I had showed you this a long time ago. This is Robin Pickens fabric, line, and I had finished this a long time ago. I had sent it to my long armor, and she quilted it with the bees and leaves, the bee path. It was very cute. Well, my finish on this is that I put the binding on it. So I did a binding last week and a binding this week, and look, I binded it with little leaves is the stitch I used for it. So that is all done. So one more quilt done. That's 2 in a row. Trust me, that's all you're going to see for right now. As far as that goes. So at my quilt retreat, it's a very small quilt retreat, like 20 people. My little group of people, so my sister Annette, Candace, her and I have gone for years, and then 2 new ones this time, Candy the 614 Stitcher, and Sue, a friend that also cross stitches and quilts together. So that was very fun to be able to hang out for a few days, do a little bit of shopping, we did very little eating. I mean, we went and got our ice cream, but we went across the street to this. So this is in Shipshewana, which is Amish land, and got like meat and cheese. And we were like, tried basically not to leave and just do as much quilting as we can. And I was very successful in that. I have got pictures to show you. So the first one, I finished 3 quilt tops and 2 quilt tops, 3 quilt backs. And I do not have them to show with you because I sent them home with the long armor. So the first one here is Izzys Mermaid quilt. That is her quilt front. And when I say the quilt back, I mean I prepped the fabric, like making it the size that needs to be to go to her. So Izzys Mermaid one is super cute. I modified the pattern so that it was a little longer because it was supposed to be perfect square, and we actually like them to be longer. I think I made it too long, but that's okay. Ozzy's gonna be a long, tall girl. The next one was a pattern that I had for Henry's. It was a packet, and it's a Hot Wheel fabric. So this is what Henry's will look like. I'm super excited about getting that one. My points were on. I was super happy about that. For his backing, since it was a kit, I actually, when you go to the long armor, like when we go to the framer, when we take our cross stitching to a framer, they want it to be extra along the edges. Well, that's the same thing with quilters, long armors for your back. They need it to be extra so that it's how they handle it in case whatever. So anyway, so I had to I made an extra special row in the back of his. So that had to be done. So that took a little more time. And then I don't have a picture of this one, but my friend quilt, I don't think, my friend quilt that I got the fabric from on my friend's retreat last year for New York, I had finished that just a couple weeks ago, showed it to you. It looked like sunflowers. I got the back prepped on that and sent that. So 3 of my quilts are at the long armors now, and I will be showing those to you when they come back for sure. I also worked on starting 2 other quilts. I started on something called a Scrappy Chip quilt. This is what the mock-up of it is supposed to look like. I am over the moon with what mine is looking like. It's so like peace, love, and vibes. I am excited about that. And then the other one that I started is a Peter Rabbit quilt. I don't think I have anything for that to share with you as pictures wise, but if I do, I've shared it. So that is the plethora of quilting that I have to share. So yes, I have 2 loves. Yes, this channel will stay about cross stitching, but the quilting usually only comes in like this. I go to 1 retreat a year, and that's how this comes in. Other than that, I sprinkle it in as I finish stuff. So there's that. But back to stitching. We're going to get back to stitching. So that is my daily stitching. I did 0 stitching when I was at my quilt retreat. And some would say that was a hangover from getting my queen done. But I feel like I was just I was able to let it go since that goal was done. I do still have monthly goals, so I will be back to stitching. I am off this week for, I had a planned trip that fell through, but I decided to keep the time off because my husband has a doctor's appointment. I have a doctor's appointment. It's my daughter's birthday. I haven't seen some of my stitching friends in a while, so I'm going to get together at the store and stitch. And then there's, just the thing. So enjoy it. And then retirement's around the corner, but this busyness happening. Originally, I thought I would get a room painted, but I don't see that happening this week. I really don't. So with that, Opie got down and now he goes in there to bark. I am back to stitching, and other than that, as far as private life goes, which that kind of was all mixed in, Colton started his new position, same company, new position. He is now a mobile mechanic, so he has this big truck that he brought home. I don't know if I have a picture. If I do, I'll share it, if he's allowed. And then the Grands, of course, were here to greet me, and excited to see me. It was rambunctious and wild when I got home, but Grandma was gone, and they missed me lots and would FaceTime me and just need to have kisses and the hugs through the phone. So it was good to be home. The husband had hamburgers and stuff ready, and the house was picked up. It was great to come home, and it was a good getaway. It was a good getaway. So and other than that, that's pretty much all I got for you. Again, I always encourage you to get around your other like-minded people. This is a taste of, like, retreat-wise is like, you know, I networked with other people that some of them are here in my local at this group that I was with. So I look forward to, you know, sewing here locally besides my stitching locally and getting out there. I was informed about, like, so y'all know I joined a book club. Well, now I'm going to join a yoga thing in the park on, like, I think it's Wednesdays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays. I better check that out. But it's a glow up thing to where, like, it's just a lady and you sign up and you go and do yoga and light weights or whatnot. And I'm like, why not? Use it before you can't. So that's what I got going on. I hope you've had a wonderful week, and have a wonderful week coming up. Enjoy the weather, stay cool, but still get out and get yourself some vitamin D by getting outside. My dogs were so happy to have me back home today to give them, or to have, not today, but have me back home to give them their walk. They were so happy to have their walk this morning, and they are, like, quietly over there passed out because they love their walks and clearly miss it. Other than that, that's all I got. So we will get out of here. My rowdy animals are calming down now, of course, now that the video is wrapping up. So I'm going to get out of here and wish you guys a great time. So please keep stitching, enjoy life, and I'm sending you so much love. Bye.